Hello, and welcome to RPG Book Club. Dude, let's start that over. I almost said the video game.
The video game we play a little bit of a podcast.
That's meta. Anyway. Hello, welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game each week and talk about how it makes us feel. I'm Maddie.
I am Sam Allman.
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
I'm special guest David Bernard Houck.
Oh yeah, that guy. And this week we're going to be continuing playing Dragon Quest V: Hand of the Heavenly Bride, depending on what version you're playing, at least. And we're playing all the way up to the point where you get an item called the marital organ, which is a lot less gross than it sounds, and is also an optional item.
Hey baby, let me give you my marital organ.
Eli, this is a child-appropriate podcast.
Right.
No, it is actually not. If you are a child, stop listening right the fuck now.
It was child inappropriate the day you invited me here.
No, dude, absolutely not.
I mean, we started the podcast with Persona 3, where you summon your Pokemon by shooting yourself in the head. So we've started not kid appropriate.
Yeah, that was a good one to start with for that very reason. Now that I think about it, you'd hate to start with like Pokemon or Dragon Quest, and the kids are like, "I love this podcast," and then it's like, "All right, we're playing
Nocturne,
we're playing Shadow Hearts,
or some
shit like that."
We're going to be playing.
We should play Shadow Hearts.
We should. It's on the list.
I should definitely play Shadow Hearts. Everything Bernard has told me of it makes it sound fantastic. And the girl on the cover of the box is hot.
And that's all that matters.
That's all that matters in this video game. Anyway, before we get started, how y'all doing?
I'm doing great. I went to therapy last week when we weren't talking about going to therapy every week. And she was like, you're doing really, really good. What about we make these once a month now instead of once a week? And I'm like, that makes me feel accomplished. So wow. I won therapy, everybody. I did it.
Good job.
Therapy.
I beat it. Yeah, but I'm still going to go because it's still important and everyone should still go. Even if you feel you're good and you only go for once a month, you should still go. It's important to set aside time to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Eli?
I had a really good week because I got my new shift, and it turns out I get to work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5.
Hell
for the
yeah.
first time in 10 and a half years. I get real fucking weekends, and I'm so excited about it.
Remember like 2 weeks ago when you're like, man, shift bid's gonna go so bad for me, I'm not gonna get nothing, and look at you, you're on top.
Well, so I found
You're
out...
the top. You're the Inferno's Dante.
They use attendance points to determine tiebreakers, and I thought that they were counting attendance points all the way up until shift bid ended. They stopped counting attendance points in late April, at which point I was very low on attendance points.
Hell yeah.
But May fucked me up because of the situation with my cat.
Right.
And speaking of which, I got her ashes back yesterday morning, and I had myself a big old cry over it, but she's in a little monument that's sitting on our shelf, and I got a little keychain with her paw print and her name on it, and when I got her and when we lost her, but so I'm still not dealing with that very well, but everything else is going pretty well.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, the pretty well part, not the before part.
Thanks for that clarification.
Yeah. What about you, Maddie?
Well, I actually had some nice work-related news as of 2 days ago, actually, that I don't think I shared with y'all. I had my yearly performance review at work, my first one since starting at this job, and I got a small raise.
Nice.
Ooh. Yeah. Actually, not really that small raise. It was $250 raise.
Oh wow!
But it's only for one of the things that I do.
Okay.
We get billed at different rates for different things that we do. So one of my activities will now make me more money, and it is the activity that I anticipate being a larger percentage of my work probably going forward. So there you go, which makes sense because I'm better at. It's test prep tutoring specifically. That's by far my best thing that I do. So they know that, so they give me a raise, and hopefully they'll also be scheduling me more in that area. So yeah, that's nice. I can look forward to like, I did the math, something like numbers. How do numbers work? Maybe like $200 extra a month or so, depending on how the hours shake out.
That's real nice.
Yeah, that's rounding down. Actually,
that's like $40 in anywhere but California.
Yeah, but a little goes a long way in California, or you know, it adds up. Yeah, and other than that, I had some very, very big news. On Saturday, I started taking some hormone pills.
Yay!
Which is really, really exciting. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that for a long ass time. Bernard knows this. I showed him. They come in this super complicated, like, apparently it's a kind of weird little, like, mechanical device. I think apparently they put birth control stuff in this kind of thing as well.
Oh, is it like a little round thing?
Yeah, like rotation has like a spring and like little slots. I'm like, y'all just throw them all in a fucking bottle.
Yeah. Well, birth control comes like that because, like, you have to have placebos for part of the month so that you'll have a period.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. But see, this one doesn't work that way anyway because it just has 28.
Oh.
So it's like, oh, you're supposed to just not take it for 4 of the days. Anyway, but yeah, it's from like fucking like Sweden or something, and I'm like, you know, if y'all just did this American style and just threw them all in a bottle without any regard for my safety, it would be cheaper. But yeah, what stuff going on actually? Those are the only things I feel like sharing. Oh, actually, as far as the job goes, I'm also taking steps to get a job that will have normal fucking regular ass adult hours.
Nice.
No progress yet, but God, it'd be so nice if that happened. You know?
Yeah,
Be so great.
Also, speaking of tutoring, I have potential to, like, it sounded like I 100% got the job, but I haven't heard anything back, so I don't know. But I'll be teaching bass at the Austin School of Music, hopefully, here soon.
Oh man, that's super cool.
Yeah,
that's
and
really cool.
Yeah, and I don't remember how much she said I would make per tutoring session, but it sounded like a shitload, and that would be really good. I would love to make a shitload of money. So
Damn
I love
it, now I
shitloads.
can't. Yeah, I can't ask you to teach me how to play bass because then I'll have to pay for it.
yeah, please do.
Damn it.
Yeah, I was like
commodifying our natural relations.
Yeah, when my neighbor, who's my hookup, was like, "Oh, you play bass? Would you want to teach?" I'm like, "I only play punk bass." She goes, "It's the #1 requested thing." I'm like, "Cool." If somebody comes in and is like, "How do I play slap bass?" I'm going to be like, "Different tutor." I don't know. I don't know. These are your notes. These are the way your fingers move, and you never change.
What's the modulation?
I don't know.
What's a note that isn't 1, 4, or 5?
Couldn't tell you. But I did when she was like, yeah, I think you'd be a great fit. I went to musictheoryreminder.com or whatever, and I did their like 10-part like refresher course on
God.
music theory because I'm like, just in case. But what about you, Bernard? Unless Maddie had something else.
Oh, I was going to say, just a reminder that I am the biggest music theory nerd on the planet, aside from people who actually do it professionally and actually get paid for it. So if you ever have any questions, remember, you can always ask me.
For sure. What about you, Bernard? How was your week?
My week was great. As I think I might have mentioned on either this or my other podcast, Have You Played Resident Evil, available on iTunes and Spotify. I am aspiring to become a voice actor. And I spent a lot of time and money and effort getting my recording booth at home set up, and it's all done, and I love it, and it gets really hot in there, but I love it anyway. And you might be wondering, if you spent all this time getting a recording booth set up, why is your sound quality way worse this week? It's because I don't have a good enough internet connection in there to do the Google Hangout. And so, but my microphone is all set up in there, and I can't, it would be a huge hassle to move it, so I'm using my webcam mic.
Hey, webcam
Awesome.
mic.
You'll love to see it.
Yeah. I'll I'll mail you a Ethernet cable.
I need a really long Ethernet cable.
I have
It
a
has to,
200-foot Ethernet cable from back. Because when we first moved to Austin, there were 5 of us all renting a 4-bedroom house. And I had a desktop, which did not have Wi-Fi. Everyone else had Wi-Fi, didn't care. But so the Wi-Fi router was centrally located. I was not. I ran a 200-foot Ethernet cable to plug into the router. I wasn't going to not use my computer in my room. Like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
But,
Holy shit.
yeah, so before we get started, we have a beefy episode today, so I wanted to do this early. And it is roundabout time for us to announce the next block of games for next season.
Roundabout.
Yeah, and I'll be sending out the notice to Ko-Fi backers later today. So if you haven't moved your subscription over and you want to be able to vote, you should make sure you do that. But the 2 games we will be playing are they're both indie games. They are both Switch games. They are both people who looked at everybody that does a throwback to 16-bit RPGs, realized they all sucked, decided to purposely try and make it better. Both of them are kickstarted. Both of them come out in the last 2 or 3 years. And so this is a very thematic block, is what I'm saying.
Aren't they both made by Western developers as well?
Yes, they're both Western developers making Japanese role-playing games. And they are Cosmic Star Heroine by Zavoid Games and Shadows of Adam by Something Classic, I think is their name. Let me double check that.
Fun fact, one of the 2 games, I won't spoil which one, is by a developer that I have a deep and abiding hatred of. And if the game is bad for the same reasons as their other games, you get to hear me get real mad.
Yeah, Something Classic is the developers.
Awesome,
but I've heard that this one is like leaps and bounds better than all of their other ones. So
cool.
Yeah.
And for the record, I'm not like saying we shouldn't do it or anything. It's a fun fact.
Yeah.
And my feelings are extremely like random and arbitrary and personal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really curious about that.
As they always are.
But yeah, like I said, both are available on Switch. Both of them are available on Steam. Cosmic Star Heroine is available on Vita if you're on the Vita island like me. I think that's it for all of them. Cosmic Star Heroine might be on PS4, but it's pretty limited on both. But
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're
it better fucking be because Zavoid got their start on XBlig actually.
Yeah, so
which is cool actually.
Yeah.
One of the legacies of that.
They did the Penny Arcade games. That was their start, which is really cool.
Well, did they do the first 2 or the second?
The back 2.
They did the back 2.
And honestly, those are pretty good.
I didn't play those. I just played the first 2, which... Why did I play Penny Arcade games?
I don't know.
Back in the day, we used to think that shit was good.
Man.
I know.
We were so naive.
We all make mistakes.
I mean, we were all subscribed to VG Cats at some point.
They did get worse.
Like, it's kind of like South Park, honestly. It's like, was it ever that great? No, but it was kind of good, and we all thought it was amazing. And then A, the rose-colored glasses went away. B, it got worse.
Yeah.
But then you look back on the stuff that you thought was good originally, and you're like, yeah, that wasn't as good as I remembered either. But it's still better than the same situation.
Yeah. But that was that. If you want to vote with your wallet, you can do that at ko-fi.com/rpgbookclub. I'm not going to spell it out anymore. We spelled it out
to the polls.
We spelled it out for 5 or so episodes now, so now you should just know how to spell Ko-Fi. It's also in the description if you don't want to. But
don't Pokemon sleep or stay at Pokemon home. Pokemon go to the polls.
Dragon Quest walk to the polls.
Oh yeah. So one final important piece of housekeeping before we start our monster of an episode. How about that Pokemon Direct there yesterday, guys?
Oh
Pokemon!
my god!
Dynamax is stupid.
It's so stupid. I love it so
really
much.
It's like, what if Mega Evolution wasn't interesting?
Yeah. Basically.
Somebody
but
was
I want to hug a giant Pikachu.
Somebody tweeted, they were like, wait, so they're just getting rid of Z moves? what's the point of investing in these mechanics if they're just gimmicks, made to like sell toys and stuff? And I'm like, did you not know that's what Z-Moves was?
Yeah.
Z-Moves suck.
Every gym has these weird gimmicks that they make a big deal out of that are always only there for one game.
Yeah.
Right? And they're usually bad. And this one's gonna be bad, but I don't even care how dumb some of the new mechanics are, or whether the design of the game is good or bad. Have you seen the graphics?
The graphics
are good.
They're good, folks.
There is a wolf with a sword in its mouth.
Exactly.
Okay?
I love it.
That's all you need.
You love to see it.
You love to see it.
They really started the whole gimmick thing with Mega Evolution and X and Y. Like, before that, there wasn't really, like, the gimmick in Heart Gold and Soul Silver was your Pokemon walks around with you, and it's really cute.
Well,
and
also the whole Pokewalker, which they should have kept.
Okay, the Pokewalker, but, like, that's not something for battles, specifically.
Yeah, so the actual gimmicks started with Gen 3, and you had double battles, which have mostly stayed around.
Okay, well, but double battles are like a thing that's regular play now.
I wish it was less of a gimmick, frankly.
Yeah, true. But then they added triple battles and rotational battles, which were gimmicks. They've added horde battles, which were gimmicks.
And now we have raids.
Which are also gimmicks. But yeah,
But those have all stuck around.
But barely for most of them were there nominally because they don't like to delete things unless it's the contest for some reason. But like,
or the game center.
Yeah, and so they
that wasn't their fault.
That's true. Yeah.
So they didn't really so they haven't really gotten rid of them, but they haven't like focused on them. Also, last gen had sky battles for some fucking reason. Which was stupid.
To me, the gimmick is your Pokemon does something extra in the battle, like Mega Evolve or Z-Move.
Yeah. What I think also probably adds to it is you got more and more graphical fidelity up to black and white, where you're like, oh, in black and white, now they move and you have a dynamic camera. And they went to 3D and they couldn't impress us anymore, so they had to come up with new shit.
Yeah, I don't know.
I do know that I would die for Dynamax Wooloo.
Oh yeah.
I want a Corviknight so bad. Yeah, I love it.
All right, so
Jeremy Corviknight.
Real quick poll: which Pokemon would be the stupidest and therefore best one to Dynamax?
Wailord.
I saw a tweet about that. It's like everybody would just die if you did that.
Metapod.
It would turn into Sin.
I was thinking either Natu or Xatu, the little tiny like speck of a bird. Just Dynamax it so it's the size of a Jigglypuff.
Yeah.
Dunsparce is great.
Metapod would be a really stupid one. Like, oh, it used Dynamax Harden. It's hardened extra.
That's good. So
it would be terrifying. Dynamax Farfetch'd.
Oh,
no, like Dynamax Dodrio.
Oh god.
Big bird.
All the birds, basically. You make a bird big and it's scary.
Yeah.
Did you see that Corviknight is like 7 feet tall?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it carries everybody around.
That's too big, man.
I fucking love it.
A lot of the Pokemon are too big.
Well, also, since they mentioned that Corviknight is the fly for this game, that confirms that HMs are still gone, which is super dope.
Yeah. I had a feeling that one was a permanent change.
Yeah.
It's like, that's such a long time coming, such a smart idea.
And then,
I'm glad they did that.
And then also, I feel vindicated because when the teaser came out, everyone was like, "Wow, they went back to random battles instead of on the map." And I'm like, "But you can't. They didn't want to reveal Pokemon. It's probably just turned off for this trailer." And it was because it's back on in this trailer. And I feel correct.
Yeah,
so
that
good.
looks awesome.
Yeah.
I like Pokemon Let's Go's lack of random battles.
Yeah.
Like, being able to see the Pokemon out in the world is really cool. And being able to avoid all the Zubats.
Yeah.
That's great.
Mount Moon is a really easy dungeon when you don't have Zubats every step.
Oh my god, I know.
But, let's get started on this chonker of an episode.
Oh,
yes.
Lord, he coming.
So, I actually have one more point of business.
Okay.
The RPG Book Club would like to issue the following correction. It's Coburg, not Croberg. I'm an idiot and can't read.
Well, I can't hear because I didn't notice you saying it wrong.
I definitely said Coburg.
I didn't notice
That's okay.
either.
All right. Well, I appreciate that you two didn't notice, but I feel like someone is out there going, "What the fuck is he talking about?"
He's
Coburg?
sending us a furious email.
I wish someone send us a furious email.
Please.
I'm tired of Matt just sending puns to the email.
God damn it, Matt! We're gonna have to make a new emoji for God damn it, Matt. All right, so we start off this week 10 years after getting enslaved, and we are still a slave, of course.
We were 10 years a slave, right?
Yes, we're 10 years a slave. So, going around and talking to the NPCs, we find out that if we finish the temple, we'll be free as long as we worship Zug's Dong. I'm sorry, Zug's Wang. And Harry's here, and he's way less of a dick now, which is great.
Slavery does that to a kid.
Yeah, for sure.
Character.
Yeah. I guess, yeah. So, talking to more NPCs, we find out, been spending most our lives moving rocks in White King's paradise.
Nice.
Good job.
Fucking nailed it.
Good job, Eli.
Thank you.
That's great.
Where was I going with that? Okay, why did I write arrow and then sleep time after not working? Oh, we had... they were like, all right, go to sleep now. And I'm like, I have done no work. Cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you just couldn't bothered everybody else who was trying to work.
Yeah, they're like, go move rocks. And I'm like, I'm going to go talk to people.
Yeah, and like you try to like help people move rocks, and they're just like, "Don't interrupt me." And you're like, "Okay, I was
okay.
trying to be a good little slave, but I guess I'll just slack off."
Yeah.
They should have gone all Shenmue 2 and made you do a rock pushing minigame that takes like literally an hour.
Please no.
That's what I expected.
Yeah, I kind of actually expected that too.
Actually, it's funny. A lot of Dragon Quest games do very early on give you some kind of excuse to do a rock pushing tutorial. I think I mentioned this 2 episodes ago. You think they would have done that here, but they didn't.
I mean, they already had you push a rock off that guy when you were a baby.
Right, but it wasn't done using a rock pushing mechanic. It was done by clicking on it.
Yeah. So,
who
knows?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know.
Maybe he doesn't have rock pushing. Who knows? Who can say?
Find out next time on RPG Book Club.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So we also find out apparently the hero gets whipped a lot. Like, he's very defiant, I guess.
He also gets ripped.
Yeah. Look at him, beefy muscles.
He looked up
60
the
bits.
art of what he looks like at this point in the game.
Yeah.
He's real ripped.
Yeah, he is.
Normally Dragon Quest characters are Dragon Ball shaped and not Dragon Ball Z shaped. This is full on Buu Saga ridiculous muscle. Dragon Quest hero.
Harry mentions that he's been more obedient than we were, which is ironic. So we find out that one of the soldiers' sister, Maria, was made a slave because she protected some kid, like from becoming a slave himself. And apparently she's kind of a slavery apologist. She says it's good that she was enslaved because she doesn't like Zug's rod. But because she can now see the harm that it does. So, I mean, like, I understand her reasoning to some degree, but it's a little weird the way she puts it.
Yeah.
She didn't know slavery was bad before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, now it's back to not work, and going around and just talking to people. We eventually come across Maria being whipped for making some dude's shoes dirty, because these people are just the worst. And then we fight.
The narration says, "What a shock! One of the slave girls is being whipped." And I know it's not, but it just read sort of sarcastic, like, "Oh, a slave is being whipped."
Yeah. Wow.
What a surprise.
What a fucking shock. So we fight the 2 slave guys who are whipping Maria, and we kill them, or we seriously injure them. I'm not sure which, but we get dragged off to jail. Although it's more like instead of getting dragged off to jail, they're like, "Come with us." So we just kind of follow them to jail.
It's implied.
Yeah. But Maria comes up and ends up letting us out. It turns out the soldier is named Joshua, and he wants to thank us for helping his sister, and he helps us escape.
By shoving us in the barrels where they dump corpses, which is mean and metal.
Yep.
Yeah. I liked this, but thou must, when he says, will you hear me out? And I said no, and he's like, well, I'm going to tell you anyway. Like, all right. Cool. Yeah, and he even says, like, oh, whoever told you that you were going to be free was lying, because all the slaves are going to be killed after the tower is built to keep everything a secret.
Yep. Hate to see it.
Yeah, we all float away in a barrel off a waterfall. Not sure how we all fit in that barrel, but it's
RPG rules. Although, actually, this game doesn't really do that, so
Yeah, so also, this barrel can go from this big old tower, fall down, and not break. But when you were 5, you could break it with your bare hands. This is the strongest character in JRPG history.
God, imagine having to parent that child.
Right?
Damn, imagine if your child could destroy just barrels left and right.
Imagine, I just imagine how much
for mini medals.
I could just imagine how much she hits me, and if she hit me with the force of a barrel breaking 5-year-old,
oh God, you would be dead. You would just die.
5,000.
So we end up at a place called Heavens Above Abbey.
Oh God. We were woken by a character named None of the Above.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I feel like we all just had to take a second to process for a second.
I feel like I understand why Sam loves this game so much, and it's not the gameplay, it's the puns. It's all the dad jokes. There's more. There's so many more.
Oh God, Bernard, you remember what character comes towards the end of the game?
No.
I think I know which one you're referencing, because I think Matt made the joke.
Is dad jokes the character later in the game. He's really
good. Great. I'm super excited.
Yeah.
So Maria gets baptized and is going to be living at the Abbey.
Hell yeah. I love to see it.
Yeah. So we leave the Abbey with Harry, and the nuns come to say goodbye. They tell us to go to the town to the north called Fortuna.
Mm-hmm.
So did we do that? Yeah. Okay. Yes, this is where we go to Fortuna.
Important gameplay question regarding Fortuna. Did you come here at night, Eli?
I did. Well, I was there during the day, but then I came back at night because someone was like, "You should be here at night."
Okay, cool. Because that's how you get monsters in your party, and I couldn't imagine doing this chapter without a party of 4.
No.
I did most of the chapter without monsters because I didn't go to the curiosity shop at night. And I was like, I know I need to get a wagon because Monty the Monster Man tells you got to get a wagon. But I didn't think there's going to be a wagon at a curiosity shop. That doesn't seem like where you get a wagon.
Yeah, I actually thought the curiosity shop was going to be like where I sold my Toff's tea set and shit like that.
That would
actually,
make sense.
Y'all might be confused about that because I sure was. Turns out this game, and they explained this later in the game. They just haven't yet. So I might as well explain it now. Has a series of items that are just called knickknacks, and later they're literally just optional. Try to find them all collectibles.
Okay.
So they're worthless.
Yeah. Later there's a place called the Knickknackery where you place all your knickknacks.
Okay. So
they're trophies. And also, some of them actually do have effects. Some of them can either be used in battle or equipped. So do check them just in case you can equip 1 or 2 of them. I think I already have one that can be equipped for increased agility or something, but that's very minor. They are just for fun.
Okay, Cool.
Okay.
So I'm not going to worry about it no more.
Great.
That's how like the Wheelbrook Stone. Some of them actually involve quests. The Wheelbrook Stone ends up being like combined with another knickknack to create the final form or whatever. But it's all just for fun.
Okay. Cool. So one of the first NPCs I talked to was a fortune teller who says that a big hand of evil is casting a shadow over the world. And all I can think of is Master Hand from Smash Brothers.
Or Monos, the Hands of Fate.
Yeah, oh god. Please no. So there's a big casino in Fortuna. So I hit the casino. I lost at most of the games. Well, no, I won the one where you watch monsters battle.
Nice.
And then I won TNT first try. And it awarded a boomerang that I had already bought.
Nice.
So that was great.
I did not even step foot in the casino because I am a sucker for Dragon Quest casinos. So I'm like, you know what? No.
Yeah.
Also, there's an important plot point where you go to a different casino later, so I was like, I'll just do it later.
The first step to recovery is knowing that you have a problem, Maddie. Exactly. So I'm very proud of you.
So, you probably sold that extra boomerang, but if you get a Draki on your team, for some reason it gains MP but no spells because it hates me, but it can equip boomerangs, which are OP. So if you want a second boomerang...
Slime can also equip boomerang.
Really?
My slime could not. My slime was only equipping fangs.
Maybe they're different.
Maybe.
Yeah, my slime would equip fangs and poison darts. I didn't check the boomerang again.
Pro tip: the lowly slime is good as shit.
Yeah. He once you get past like level 8, he starts getting like freakishly good, and I'm like, yeah, you're never leaving my party, Goochtrude.
Yeah. Goochtrude, that's mine.
Yeah.
Goochtrude Chandler Warner.
Yeah.
So I came in at night and talked to the Curiosity Shop and got a little cart so that I could make monster friends, which was a really cool mechanic, I think. I wasn't sure exactly how it worked even when they explained it. But basically, when you fight monsters, they have a chance afterwards, after you defeat them, to want to join the party. And so you can accept or decline. And if you accept, they'll just end up in your party if you have space, or if you don't have space in your party, they'll go in a little cart. And the ones in your party will get full XP, and then I think the ones in the cart get like a percentage of the XP after every battle. But they get leveled up as well over time. And the monsters are great.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be a gimmick, but like they're like full-fledged party members.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Okay.
The only problem is they won't listen to me.
Here's the part where I need to explain something that y'all don't get. Sam might kind of get it. This is actually a very interesting gameplay twist that, for a big nerd like me, is perhaps more interesting than any of the game's actual plot twists. Here's the thing about this game. It's got a class system. I'm not saying it literally has a class system. I'm saying that's what the monsters are.
Yeah.
Oh.
And specifically, at first you're just like, yeah, the monsters have all different abilities. But Sam, some of these monsters are explicitly specific Dragon Quest classes.
That's cool.
Like, you'll get a monster, and after he learns a few abilities, you're like, oh, this is the wizard from Dragon Quest 3. This is the priest from Dragon Quest 3. Or if y'all get a Slime Knight yet?
Yeah,
yes.
I have one.
Slime Knight is the hero class, which is amazing. You don't ever have two heroes in your party, but now
I
you
definitely do right now.
Yeah. So he's the hero. He can do all the hero stuff. He gets heal spells later. I think he probably gets zap.
Mine started with mid heal, and I was like, oh hell yeah.
Yeah. So that specific combination of abilities. So yeah. So they and also, like in Dragon Quest 3, not only can you change classes, but you can like go to the class store, go to the party character store and recruit new people. You just get to like, I'm just gonna make someone that's this class. That's just what monster recruiting is. It's like, hey, you want a wizard on your team? But of course there's more variety because the monsters often have many unique abilities as well. But yeah, it is just RNG. I did find out that level differential improves your RNG. So if you go back to an earlier area at a higher level, you'll get hella monster joints.
Oh, nice.
So just a tip, if you see a monster that you really want, try going back later using the spell that we're going to be talking about that you get as part of the plot. Is there anything else to monster training? No, that's it. I mean, just hope you get some, just go with the flow. Hope you get something good.
I got a small fry, and it gains, like, it takes a ton of experience for that thing to level up, but it is so good. Like, its attack is super high.
Its abilities are incredible.
Yeah. It's just got fire breath right now, which doesn't seem to do much, but
I'm getting mixed up with something else. Never mind. Small fry is all right. There's a different one that gets some great abilities.
Oh, okay. But I have a small fry and a slime in my party, because the slime has Kabuff and Kasap.
Which is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we find out that there's something going on at the castle in the north, which it turns out is Coburg. So we head up toward there and end up at Wheelbrook, and holy shit, it got fucked up.
Yeah.
Got wrecked.
It is an absolute mess. There's poison water everywhere, and apparently it was soldiers from Coburg who came and just completely ransacked the place.
Mm-hmm. Because, like, you get there and you, like, see poison on the ground, and you're like, oh no, evil got here. And then you talk to people who are like, yeah, it was soldiers. It was, like, humans that did it.
It turns out it's man.
Yeah.
I do turns out it's just, like, you go and destroy a town, you burn it to the ground and destroy buildings, and all of a sudden that just causes poison to appear on the ground.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like in Flint, Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
That's depressing.
I was going to say maybe it was like Doma Castle, and that was what happened. Like Kafka came and poisoned the water.
Places that are destroyed and suck have poison in Dragon Quest. That's just how it is.
Okay, cool. And apparently people were blaming Pancraz for it because of Harry going missing. There's the cave that we had gone in way earlier in the game. There's now more of it open to us because there's a little raft that we can reach, and the old guy who was before blocking the door to that area,
his whole life blocking that door.
Yeah. Now tells us that we should go in because Pancraz has left something for us. So we go through this cave, and we find a little hidey hole he had. And he left a letter for us, which was really sweet. But apparently Mata had some sort of powers that the bad guys wanted. We don't know what bad guys, just evil people wanted her power. So we need to find someone who can use the Zenithian equipment, whatever the fuck that means. I'm sure it will mean something eventually. Right now, it's gobbledygook to me.
This is not actually a spoiler. The previous game, one of the end goals was to go to a magical floating castle in the sky that was called Zenithia.
Oh, okay.
That was in Dragon Quest IV. So, okay, I'm seeing Zenithia appear again in this game.
Gotcha. It's like some sort of continuation.
Yeah. Yeah, the first three are an explicit trilogy, Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3, and the second three are an implicit trilogy where they all reference Zenithia, but otherwise they're unrelated.
Yeah.
Cool.
So if you would play the previous games, you'd be like, oh, I see, this is the important sword, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you can head directly to Coburg right after that, but I went up to Roundbeck.
I did too.
I did too. I think you might have to.
Like, maybe I can find Bianca, because I remembered. I remembered a thing about a game.
I actually do know. If you go, Harry doesn't. You know how later he pipes up and is like, "Oi, let me through." He doesn't do that if you go there right away. So you do have to go over to Roundbeck.
Yeah, he does say it might be in party chat or something, but he does say, "Let's not go to Coburg. I want to stay away from there for now." Mm-hmm. And then after you see the bad stuff, I think you don't have to go to Roundbeck. I think you just have to see what happened in Wheelbrook. After you stand an inn, he says, "Let's go to Coburg."
Okay.
He's like, at first he's like, "Let's not go to Coburg. It's a silly place."
So I went directly to the inn because I'm like, maybe Bianca's here. Well, apparently, the lady I talked to had no idea who the hell Bianca was, but she had bought the place from a guy named Whitaker around 7 years ago. So Bianca is gone, which is unfortunate. But I found out from her that we get a prize if we stay 2 nights at the inn.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So, of course, I was going to stay. And the first night after we stay, Harry wakes us up in the middle of the night and says he was thinking about going back to Coburg. So then I stayed a second night and got a famous grape-scented Roundbeck Zizwiz pillow, which is definitely a string of words. Maybe.
Based on the item description, it might put enemies to sleep. I haven't tried using it.
I used Peep on it, and it did say that it would put enemies to sleep or something like that. Nice. I think I didn't talk to enough people in Roundbeck because in party chat, Harry said he'd heard from the this may have been when I was talking to him at night. He said he heard from the townsfolk about his father's death, and people don't like Wilbur as king, but I didn't remember anyone saying that.
Too. Yeah, he learned it from the townspeople before I learned it from the townspeople.
Yeah.
I went and talked to them later, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So after staying our 2 nights in Roundbeck's Inn and getting our sweet pillow, which is, I don't know why it would be grape scented, but whatever.
But now I want a grape scented pillow. It sounds heavenly.
As long as it's normal grape scent and not the fake Dimetap grape scent.
I was about to say, I just want Dimetap all over my pillow.
Yikes.
So we head to Coburg, and Harry talks to the guard and says, "Let me through," and he reminds the guard who he is, and the guard's name is Frank Ophobe.
Yep.
He's apparently very afraid of frogs.
Yeah. I did not know the Latin word for frog being Frank, and I thought it was F-R-A-N-C, aphobe. Like he's afraid of French people.
He's afraid of French people.
I thought this guy just hated French people, and I was like, yeah, same. The final representation I crave.
Hatred of the French is not brought up nearly enough in video games.
But also, so my wife is watching through the TV show Outlander, and I just got a joke because of Dragon Quest. Because when they get to France in the show, one of the Scotsmen is like, "I hate the air here; it smells of frogs," which then is a joke.
Here we go.
Franks.
Yeah. Okay.
I wouldn't have ever gotten it, but there we are.
So, Frank, what the hell did I write there? Oh, I put a weird space in between kingdom, and it said kingdom, and I was very confused.
That's different.
Yeah, Frank said the kingdom is in a terrible state, but Harry tells him to be careful so he doesn't get in trouble for smack-talking it, because he could be in serious danger that way. So we get to Coburg, and we just waltz up into that castle like it's nothing.
Yeah, there's no guards, no anything. You just are just like, well, I'm home, so let's just go and see what's up.
Yeah. But as we're about to head upstairs, Harry stops us and says he should probably keep his identity a secret. So we go wandering around a little bit. There's a soldier who tells us that the queen ordered the destruction of Wheelbrook. Which, I knew that queen was bad news the first time I met her, and she was like, "Oh, my Wilbur is great," and then she had Harry captured and sold into slavery, so...
One thing that I love is, we'll find out in a second that this is yet another doppelganger, as we've seen throughout the whole thing, but the real queen, she's like, I mean, yeah, I tried to kill you and get you sold into slavery, but I was just doing what I needed. I'm good now. And just like...
I learned from that. I grew as a person.
Not like, oh, that was the doppelganger too. Even if it was her, just lie to us and say it was the doppelganger.
Yeah, because really. Just take that shit to your grave, lady.
Right?
So we're blocked inside. So we go through a secret waterway entrance under the bridge that I didn't know was there. I kept trying to go into the locked door on the side, like, let me in!
Too.
Let me in!
Like, I saw the raft, and I knew that was the game trying to be subtle and be like, hey, Sam, you can explore a different place than you could when you were a kid. And I still looked in every single place I possibly could to find a secret passageway instead of going under the bridge.
Well, I went on the raft and I took like at least a couple of laps around the castle. I'm like, there's nothing.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that I can rotate my camera because I don't know how this worked in the 2D one, because there's been a lot of, especially this chapter, there's been a whole bunch of puzzles that rotate your camera and get a different look at it. Yeah, but so, like, this one was one where if you rotate your camera, you can see under the bridge. And then in the tower in a little bit, there's one where what looked like two pillars as part of a wall was actually two pillars as part of a door. And, yeah, I'm never remembering to do that.
I keep forgetting to rotate my camera, too. So there's a guy in jail who tells us the queen was responsible for Harry's quote-unquote death, which, duh. We knew about that. And then he blamed, and then the queen actually blamed Pancakes for it. Sorry, Pancraz. I'm actually, like, that was the one time I wrote something funny for his name, because I'm trying to be respectful of the dead, but I forgot. So the queen, who is now dowager instead of consort, turns out she's in jail. And,
this is supposed to be a big reveal. No, never mind. I was like, because I was thinking, oh, you're supposed to see the queen and then be like, oh god, so there she is underground. But no, this is on the way up. You couldn't have seen the queen yet. So
yeah,
it's storytelling, not a reveal.
Correct. So we're really confused about why she's in jail. But we make our way up. I ran into some Dargos that are actually Dargans.
Yeah,
which was neat.
Did you slaughter all of them for lying to you? Because I did.
Yes.
Because they were there.
I was like, I wanted to pet the dog, and instead I fought the dragon, so I'm going to murder all the women and the children, too.
I wonder if that's, either intentionally or unintentionally. It does feel like a joke, because, we joked about how the game will do that thing where, like, two human people will come up to you and then be like, let's fight, and then you fight them, and they're monsters.
Yeah.
Because that's the sprite that they had. I feel like the dog thing is almost like a joke on that, right? It's like, yeah, there's a difference between field sprites and battle sprites, so this dog wasn't actually a dog.
That dog is a bomb. So King Wilbur doesn't want to see us. Once we get to him, he's like, no, I'm sick. But Harry reminds him of who he is by calling him his lackey. So Wilbur is actually really excited. Yes. He sends the Chancellor off so he can talk to us, and gives us the key to Coburg. And this was the point where I realized, oh god, I've been saying it wrong the whole time.
Yep.
Nice.
Which I felt really silly at that point. So he tells us to go to the vault, and there is a portal to Above It All Tower.
Above it all. It's really tall. That's why it's above it all.
That's not even a pun. It's just a description of the tower. You can't be angry at that. If it was called Really Tall Tower, like, that's just what it is.
Yeah. I guess so.
But what makes it a pun is the fact that the nuns of the above worship at the Above It All Tower.
Yeah.
So then it gets into a gray pun area.
Yeah.
It's an accomplice.
I can still not like it, alright? Even if it's not technically a pun, I can still dislike it.
True.
So we can't actually get in yet, so we have to head back north and go to the Abbey to talk to Maria. She says... Sorry, what?
I was just going to say, who's now a full-fledged nun of her own.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we skipped over that part earlier, but yeah, before we leave at the beginning of the game, we watch her become a nun. We sit through her ceremony.
Yeah, they had told us that she was getting baptized. But yeah, she's fully a part of the Heavens Above Abbey now. So she tells us that she prayed to see us, and one of the nuns says that we actually need a maiden of the goddess to let us into the tower.
What I think is weird, and don't know what it's trying to do with it, is when you get to the tower, it's like, oh, you need the power of the monks or something, but you go to the nuns, and like, yeah, they're similar, but that's not the same idea for monks and nuns. So it was very weird that it called it that.
Yeah,
especially because this is JRPG land. So when I hear monk, I'm not thinking a Catholic dude in a monastery. I'm thinking a bald Tibetan dude who's good at punching.
Yeah. It's a melee class with healing. That's what I think. But yeah.
Sorry, I'm writing something down real quick that I wanted to remember to bring up later.
Okay.
Okay. So Maria goes with us back to the tower. Once we get in the central area, in like the courtyard, there's like ghosts or like memories of Pancraz and what I assume is Mata. Mm-hmm. I don't remember what they said. I don't think it was anything of real consequence.
They didn't really say anything. Like, I think Pancraz like turns to you and then fades away, and then Maria's like, "Oh yeah, mirror bullshit," and you're like, "Okay, cool."
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're here to try and find Rosmir. Is what the reason why we came to the tower. I think we glossed over that part.
Yes, I forgot to include that. This mirror will show us the true form of the bad queen.
Yeah.
The worst queen.
Yeah.
So, I actually had a really hard time with this dungeon because I didn't realize, like, in the area where there's a big gap in the center, I could just go around the edge.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe I just have to keep falling into it the right way. And I looked at a spoiler-free guide, and I'm like, oh, well, yeah. I'm an idiot.
Shout outs to that spoiler-free guy on GameFAQs, though. It's a really good spoiler-free guy. And, like, actually spoiler-free, and, like, sometimes you do a spoiler-free one, and it's like, and then you'll fight the boss next chapter. Now that Eris and Sephiroth are dead, and you're just like, okay, that's not spoiler-free, man. That's one paragraph. You gotta wait, like, a whole chapter so people will know completely. But this it's really good.
Yeah. So, we find Rosmir at the top, and we didn't have to fight a big boss for it, which was great. I loved that. So then we head back to Coburg.
Well, one thing that's cool about Dragon Quests in particular is while there are a lot of bosses, especially in this one, not so much in the old ones, it's like the dungeon is the boss. It's hard to get through the dungeon. That's what you're trying to conquer more than a boss at the end. Yeah. And in Dragon Quest 2 is when they really started like putting bosses, and they're bad. One of the bosses knows Kamikaze, but it doesn't actually kill him. It just kills you. And you go back and the boss is still there. And you're like, that's not how it works.
That sucks. So we head back to Coburg and talk to the Chancellor, who tells us it's not a good time to talk with Wilbur because there are two queens for some reason.
Just like, he's busy upstairs. There's two queens. It's whatever. It's king stuff. You won't understand.
Yeah. So we go up and we use Rosmir on one of the queens, and she turns into a monster who we kill.
It takes you a lot of tries if you don't have any monster friends with you. It was at this point I looked in a guide to be like, it was after I successfully killed her. I looked in a guide to be like, okay, when the fuck am I getting this wax? Did I miss it somehow? And I was like, oh, I was supposed to have it.
Whoops.
Yeah.
So we talked to Wilbur afterwards, and he blames himself for the situation. And he says that Harry should be king. Harry declines, though, and says he'll still says he'll stay around to assist Wilbur. So he tells us afterwards, Harry tells us afterwards, I should say, there's a ship that's sailing from Little Haven that we should go get on. So Maria ends up... I think Maria went back to the Abbey?
Nope.
Yes, she did.
Oh, she did here? Okay. I thought she didn't because of things that happened later.
Yeah. But for now, she's gone back to the Abbey. So we head back to Little Haven, which is the town south of Wheelbrook. and get on a ship to Zephyrus.
That technically town we were at the beginning of the game that was
is pushing it.
Yeah,
it's
that harbor.
building with a dock on it.
I got there. It was weird. I got there at night. I find the day-night cycle interesting in this game. I got there at night, and they were like, "Oh, there's no ship. It's the middle of the fucking night, you idiot."
Did y'all find the nightlight?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
good.
didn't realize that it would just change the time of day until later.
Very.
But isn't it like the nightlight from 3 where it only turns at night and not day?
Yeah, it's strange. You can turn it night at will, but not day.
Oh, okay.
Day you gotta stay in or walk around in circles.
Well, then it wouldn't have helped me anyway. So
Yeah, it would have helped you in
whatever.
the situation. I just thought I'd bring that up. In case y'all like missed. I think it's like a chest in a dungeon.
Yeah.
So we get to this place called Lodestar Harbor. And
Lodestar.
did some exploring, and once we got in the pub,
Lodestar. Now I'm more of a PBR kind of guy.
ha 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 ha.
I don't even drink beer, and I know the 2 shittiest beers you can drink in Texas.
Okay, Lodestar, PBR.
Fuck that shit. Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Those are not even remotely on the same level. PBR is horseshit, and Lone Star is like pretty good. Lone Star is the cheapest beer that I will buy. Like it's cheap, but it is potable.
Yeah,
it's effective. So we get to the pub in town, and there's some assholes attacking a farmer. So we kill the assholes.
Better wolves. Well, they're wolf assholes.
Yeah. So we save the farmer, and he asks us to help him with a monster that's been fucking with their crops in a town called Hay. This farmer's accent strikes me as very weird, too, because it seems like they're going for a southern thing, but they're also going for a Cockney thing, because he doesn't say his H's, and I'm very confused by it. But
also, they kind of do a little bit of like a Raising Arizona thing, where they use complicated words and sentence structures sometimes.
Yeah.
That's weird. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't either. So we go down to Hay, and there's the farmer is in this house that's owned by a guy named Bailiff Bale, or Bailiff Bales, which makes me mad.
Because Hay.
Yeah. So they talk about getting someone to help. They talk about me killing the guys in the pub, basically, and asking me to help with their monster problem. And the bailiff is just like, ugh, whatever.
One thing I think is hilarious right here is so the guy's like, hey, can you go and help me out with in my town? I'm like, okay, cool. And I left immediately and I went down there. And then he gets there before you, of course. And he's like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have paid him in advance. He probably just took the money and ran. There's no way that he's coming. And I'm like, I was right with you.
Yeah.
I was right behind you, dude.
If you just waited like for a second, I would have walked with you.
Right?
You could have joined my party like Maria
breaking
did.
some barrels.
Yeah.
It was real important. I had to get through with it.
There were many medals to find. I don't even know what they do, but I need them.
Yeah.
So,
what's y'all's mini medal count right now?
I have no idea. I'm not sure where to find it.
A shit ton. I haven't checked, but I feel like I'm at like 10 or something.
I have 2.
I have all of them.
I seriously like keep finding them.
Yeah, I keep finding
I don't
them
know
too.
how many I have, but I found a number
the
of
gap
them.
in any Dragon Quest game in between starting to find mini medals and getting to the place where you can cash them in is always excruciating. I'm like, I have so many mini medals. Give me them prizes. Gimme. And I don't remember at what point in the game you actually get to cash them in. I think probably next week.
Yeah.
I have at least half a dozen. Probably more. But
I have precisely 2 because I found the one that's like a tutorial for mini medals way at the very beginning of this playthrough today, and then I found one where there was a guy who was like, "You want a secret? Go check the flower bed by the church." And I'm like, "Great, it's a mini medal. Thanks, guy."
There's another secret on the other side that gives you gold.
Yeah, it's 100 gold. It's not really a secret.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm the type of person who, if I find out I can find stuff in things, I will start checking everything. Even though, I know I've said before I don't really do side quests in RPGs when I have a time limit. Mm-hmm. This to me is just like I need the stuff.
Yeah.
I need to get all the stuff.
Yeah.
So we find out we have to go fight this monster that's part lion and part wolf, and comes from the west. So we head over to the west to go in this cave, and it's a little bit confusing, but we get through, and holy shit, the monster is Mohicat.
Yay, Saber.
Whatever you named your monster.
It's Saber.
Yeah.
I had so much trouble with this because I went into the fight and I was like, oh man, I bet if I could use that ribbon, that Bianca's ribbon, it would like recognize it and be like, oh, I'm good now. But I didn't have the ribbon with me, so I was like, well, I guess I just fight it. But I fought it for so long, but my attacks were doing like 2 damage and most of them were missing. But I even did get a couple critical hits which did like over 100 damage, but it still wasn't dying, and I was like, oh god.
Yeah.
But then I looked up a guide and realized I could flee.
Yeah. So I had a very
I just tried playing, and I was like, oh, okay, cool.
I had a very similar thing where at first I go in and I'm like, oh, okay, I got to be Pancras right now and defend. And the first time I defended, it said Saber's trying to remember something, and I'm like, cool, I'm on the right track. So I turned everybody to follow orders, and I spammed defend for about half of an episode of Outlander, and nothing fucking happened. And so I'm like, okay, well, it's not that, obviously. So then I was like, well, you catch monsters by killing them and they stand back up and they join you. So that's probably what I have to do here. And my hero wasn't missing. My monsters were missing, but my monsters suck. I do not suck. And I was doing like 20 damage a hit. So I'm like, okay, let's just do this. And I just sat there for the rest of the half of that episode of Outlander, and nothing was happening at all. And then I was like, well, maybe I leave and it'll start a cutscene. So I fleed, and I'm like, okay, it's going to be a cutscene, and just shot me back out. I'm like, okay, well, now I have no idea what to do. Let me go ask Bernard.
Yeah, I had to look at a guide, but like I reset my game because I'm like, nothing is working, so I'm clearly doing something wrong. And then it's like, put Bianca's ribbon in your inventory and then use it. And I'm like, I'm an idiot.
I feel like mine is especially idiotic because, like, I thought immediately you got to do something with Bianca's ribbon, but I still spent like half an hour fighting it because I didn't think I could flee and put it in my inventory.
Well, I mean, like in a big boss battle like that, it doesn't really seem like you could flee.
Yeah, you can't flee off house. This is a Chrono Cross.
No.
Yeah. Well, one thing I think is cool here, because when Bernard was like, use the ribbon, I'm like, okay. So I went to equip it and I accidentally hit use, and it's like memories of Bianca flow back to you. But if you're in the room with them and you use it again, it says memories of Bianca and Saber flow back to you. And then you use it in the fight and Saber joins you. So it's like they programmed, are you using it in the room to have a special thing, which is cool.
Nice. Sorry, need to block a spam caller real quick.
That's fine. We've all been there.
Yeah.
Probably we've all been there, like, today.
So many fucking robocallers. It's ridiculous. Anyway, what was I doing? So yes, we do use Bianca's ribbon, and she remembers us. I'm saying that my cat is a she. I don't care what gender it actually is. It's a she.
It's an anime cat. It's a everything.
Yeah. So we head back to Hay to let everyone know the good news that the monster is actually our friend, and for some reason everybody's really unhappy with this. I can't imagine why.
I love this. This is one of those classic, like, weird Dragon Quest twists where the story has a weird ending.
Yeah, they all accuse you of having set this whole thing up just to take their money for getting the monster.
They all think that you're a con artist and that you're trying with your friend all along. Which, like, yeah, I can see their point of view.
Yeah, I can understand
but
that.
But you can't tell them, like, no, you're wrong, I'm a good person. You just have to leave. They're like, bye, asshole.
One funny thing is there's a little there's like a square of stone in the village, like a little pedestal. It's been so long since I played this game, I've forgotten most of it. But I was like, are they going to put a statue of me there? No, they're not.
That's the last thing they would ever do. So we go back to the bailiff. We get our other half of the money, even though he's really upset with us for being friends with the cat. There was also a guy in a house next to like a scarecrow thing, and he's like, I'll give you anything. I'll give you my scarecrow. Just take that fucking cat out of my house. So we go take his scarecrow.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
It's another knick-knack.
Yep, it's another
I totally missed that one. That's great.
That's one you can actually use in battle, too.
Oh, nice. Oh,
Yeah.
does it scare the enemies and make them like miss a turn?
Yeah, I believe something like that.
Speaking of that mechanic, real quick, I came across a random mob selection that was 4 Yetis, all of whom know a move to scare you for a turn. Oof. And so I just sat there to be scared for like 10 minutes because they scared my whole party and I couldn't do a single thing. And
I fucking hate those Yetis.
This game can configure a couple of easy enemies into just the right mob that it annihilates you.
Yeah.
Like, to be like, okay, I party wiped a number of times.
Yeah.
It's not quite Shin Megami Tensei level, but yes, it can still do that.
Since quick save doesn't actually, at least on the iPhone version, quick save doesn't make you suspend your game and it doesn't erase your quick save after you've done it.
It's broken as shit.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
It totally should.
I'm essentially save scumming as I go through the overworld and through dungeons because you can use quick save in there and it's great.
Yeah.
So
I will say the spirit of Dragon Quest, the reason why it's bullshit is it's okay to die and lose on things, but I understand like if say you kept falling down the tower or here the dungeon on the way to Saber, that whole bullshit getting around that safe scumming for like navigation, sure, but safe scumming to get through like bosses and shit, it's better to take the L and come back because you'll be stronger.
I suppose, yeah. So anyway, we next head to this town called Zoomingale. And
I wonder what spell we're going to learn in Zoomingale.
Gee, I don't know.
Gale.
Yeah, definitely Gale. We're learning in.
Yeah.
So there's a pub that we go into. I fucking hate this town, by the way. I hate it so much.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, it really is. Like, who fucking designed this place? They need to be fired forever.
It reminded me of Lohan from Legend of Dragoon, but Lohan was annoying, but cool conceptually. This one was annoying and not cool conceptually.
Yeah.
The guy's just like, the paths here are confusing. Not like, it's confusing because of cool reasons. No, it's just like, they hate people.
He's just like, this shit sucks. There was no city planning. It's Houston, basically.
It's Houston.
I was thinking of like the desert town from Xenogears. I can't remember its name. I'm sorry.
It was a really big important one too, and I can't remember.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Ave town.
Yeah, something like that. So, that's right. It was Ave, wasn't it?
No, Ave was the country, wasn't it?
I think it was a country. I think technically the capital had a name, but whatever.
Yeah,
anyway,
whatever.
So there's a book in the pub about Zug's wiener upstairs, and a guy tells us about something called Zoom Brew that they used to sell, but is I guess now illegal. But it was apparently really good.
If you check the barrels, one of the barrels has some in it.
Yeah. It says life is but a drink, but it's like wiped out slightly, so you can't quite tell. Yeah. So everybody's talking about this guy named Professor Toilet Trouble. I'm sorry, Toilet Trouble, who has smoke coming out of his house for some reason.
I wonder if he's going to have like a big bubbling black cauldron in his
I don't
house.
know. His name is Toilet Trouble. I can't imagine what that would be a reference to at all. So
maybe I was wrong. Maybe you won't like this game series.
I I will note you're taking a lot of offense to all the puns, but you are making puns on the names of everything.
I know.
Yeah, you have no room to talk.
Maybe you're right at home.
That's the thing. If they're my puns, then they're fine.
Wait, maybe this is another Fuka situation where you're just like, oh, I don't like Fuka because I feel she's so needy and blah blah blah, and we're like, wait, we love Fuka and she reminds us of you, and maybe that's it. So this is the thing. You're like,
you just hate yourself.
I hate all these puns because they're just like mine.
But yeah, no, I'm playing it up. I am 100% playing it up.
Good.
So I'm saying that so that people don't think that I actually hate this game. I am really enjoying it.
I'm glad.
I just surrounded by puns, and you all don't live with Ken. You don't know the kind of stuff that I deal with on a regular basis, although he's gotten better about this, but like he loves to pun and he loves to take everything to the extreme literal when I say it, and it drives me up the wall.
I
love you, Ken, but
That's
stop.
So good. He's perfect. Never change, Ken. Do it more.
Please don't encourage him. So eventually I got to the professor's house. It took me forever to figure out how to get there, but like eventually I turned my camera and I walked around the back of the town on the wall, and it's really fucking confusing and I hate it. So we get to the professor. He asks if we're there to complain about the smoke. I said no. And he says, oh, well, it must be about my research on a special spell that'll let us travel anywhere. And I'm like, yes, please, give me. So obviously we agree to help with that. He says he needs something called a lunar zoom bloom, which can only be obtained at night from a little area west of Zoomingale. So
there was an NPC in this town that's like, oh, toilet trouble is always out of his ingredients, and you have to go on a huge quest to find it. And then he gets there, and he like brings up the map and shows you how far away it's going to be, and like all this stuff. It felt like it was going to be a huge fetch quest, and it's on the other side of the lake, right next to the town.
It took like
it's not
5
even a
seconds.
big deal.
You don't even go into a screen to get it. It's on the world map.
Yeah.
Also,
like-
the game did glitch here for me, actually. I used the night light to make it night, and the light appeared, but I couldn't click on it.
Weird.
yeah, I had to
wait
wiggle
for a
around a
natural
bit.
night cycle.
Oh,
Also, hey,
I was
I just-
able to do.
Oh, I just looked at the map to the original zooming gale, and honestly, here's the thing: zooming gale in this game, it's a nightmare town, but it's got personality. In the original game, it's just generic JRPG town with nothing interesting about it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh wait, hold on. I'm
All right.
looking closer. It's got a little bit actually. I couldn't tell because of the graphics. It
Yeah.
does have like the multiple levels thing.
Uh-huh.
But anyway,
Not
yeah.
nearly as
so
cool.
There's that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I had a similar problem, Maddie, where I couldn't click it, but I just wiggled around a little bit and was finally able to get the zoom bloom.
Yeah.
So luckily I had Chimera wings, so I just used one of those to get back to the town, which was great.
I have like 11 of them, and I keep forgetting that they exist, and so I'm just like, oh well, time to hoof it back. And I'm just like, I could have saved myself some trouble.
Yeah.
But now we have Zoom, and I always remember Zoom, and I never step foot on the world map once I get Zoom. Pretty much,
Great.
It's good.
Yeah, so we take this lunar zoom bloom back. The professor makes the spell, which knocks us all out, and then asks us to test it. So first place we go is back to Coburg.
Yep.
And
it's not
we
just
want to
random people. Why do we go there? Actually, what's the tip?
A lot of NPCs are saying, "Oh my gosh, there was a royal wedding in Coburg. I wish I could have seen it."
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we head back to Coburg to see Harry, and it turns out he has married Maria.
Because I guess she's not that kind of nun.
Yeah.
Well, maybe nuns have to be celibate in this world.
Yeah, maybe.
Or is she actually a nun, or was she just like a person at the Abbey, being at the Abbey?
No, she was dead ass.
She was
Yeah,
full-blown
because she
nun.
had to open the thingy for you, so she had to be a
Yeah.
maiden of
Maybe-
the goddess.
Maybe she was like, Man, being a nun's great, but that puke green hair.
Harry just Sound of Music her.
Yeah.
I also talked to Wilbur, who told me about the legendary shield in a place called Monster Ferrato. We go up to Harry, and he tells us that he got a wedding souvenir for us, or he saved one for us, and then says it's in the chest in his room. So we go down there, and of course that fucking chest is still empty, but he actually left us a really sweet note in it.
Then Harry turns to the camera and is like, "Ain't I a stinker?"
Yeah. He left us a really sweet note about, like, he couldn't really say this out loud, but he felt guilty about Pancraz's death, and
as he should.
100%
his fault.
For sure. But he kind of like he stuck with the hero, and he dealt with being a slave as kind of like penance for it, and to try and help make up for the shit he put us through. So we go back to Harry. He tells us it's still really easy to fuck with us, but then he gives us the marital organ.
Yeah, he gave us his dick. He's like, "We've already consummated. I'm done with this. It's yours now."
Yep.
Maybe he's trans. Maybe he's a trans man.
Maybe so. He's like, "I just strapped this on for the wedding so it'd be poking through my jorts."
Here you go. You can have it now. And he was like, "Okay." I mean, I do want to collect all the knickknacks. All the dick knacks.
All the dick knacks.
Fun fact. We were making a big deal about this being the stopping point for the week. Marital organ is a missable knickknack.
Oh, okay.
You don't need it for anything, but, like, who's gonna read the message in the chest and then not go back and talk to Harry? Right? Who wouldn't do that? But actually, you don't have to. You can get the message in the chest and then warp to the next town and then progress with the game.
Nice. So yeah, that's it. Memorable moments time?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I have one that it sounds like you guys didn't even comprehend or know about, which is cool. So, first thing I do when I realize that I'm in Roundbeck is I go to Up to 10 Towers. And in Up to 10 Towers, there are no ghosts because, of course, you freed all their souls. And I climb up the back, and I can't talk to the Count, because I was thinking maybe I could tell the Count I was alive or something, but no, their ghosts are completely rested, couldn't do anything. And I'm like, well, things are clean here. Like, when I walked in, instead of those caskets at the beginning, there were beds. And I'm like, they changed this for something. So I explored the whole rest of the dungeon, and I come to the throne room, and there's like 2 humans on it that freak out and run away when I come in. And I'm like, what the heck? So I go and I follow them outside, and it's basically Romeo and Juliet. Their names are just Dave and Vicky, which is annoying. But they're in love, and their families don't agree, and they're not in the same class of people, and they're like, it's a forbidden love. So they both had a dream on the same night of this Count and Countess that are like, hey, come out to the towers and you'll be safe. And they get there, and the castle was empty and clean and ready for them, and they've been living in Up to 10 Towers themselves ever since.
Wow.
I fucking love Yuji Horii, because this is his main writing style. Is like every NPC, while they don't have their own sprite, they have their own story, even if it's just like a 2-line little bitty thing. And it's like, he went through so much to clean up this tower just to give these 2 NPCs that we didn't even know a happy ending. And that's cool.
Really cool.
That's outrageously cool. Also, I know for a fact that you can speak to the Count up to 10 at some point, unless I'm remembering it wrong. Might want to check online, because when I was researching the whole knickknack thing, turns out the Toff's tea set, you get another knickknack later. I'm not sure how you get it, and you use it to polish the Toff's tea set. Then it becomes the polished Toff tea set, and that's actually the completed item. And then I saw that you get a little scene if you show the completed item to the ghost of the Count.
Okay,
Which maybe apparently he must show up at some point.
Yeah, you probably just go to his grave and you do it, and he'll come out. But just talking to it didn't do anything.
But how cool! I love that.
Right? That's some cool shit.
Except I don't approve I don't approve of marrying upper class people. That's being a class traitor.
But let's see, what's another one? Oh, when you're in one of the towns, it's not hay, it's the Zooming Gale. So you go to the pub, and there's an old guy there that's like, "Oh, you're looking for the hero of legend? Well, I met him." And you're like, "Oh my god, tell me more." And he was like, he was a really scruffy fellow, but he seemed like he was royal. He was so strong and was always there to help people. What was his name? Oh yeah, it was Pancraz. I think Pancraz is the legendary hero. And I'm like, "Aw, daddy."
Pancraz is definitely daddy. I'm gonna share one, not that, and then y'all can continue, just because I want to do one and then look for my other ones. As usual, I just love the 3D environments in this game. I love specific shots. The shot of the mountain when you're coming out the waterfall on the side, that's like a one-off little 3D set constructed just for this shot. The water's in the background, and then the foreground is a rock face that is actually 3D. And then the 3D graphics water is pouring out with the barrel. It's really, really gorgeous. The architecture of a lot of the buildings is cool. I had never really noticed this before, or I hadn't really remembered it from my previous memories, but like, I love how like wobbly everything is in this game. Like none of the buildings are like straight lines. Like every building is like two wooden walls that are like slightly askew, you know? And all the caves are like really curvy. Everything just has this natural organic feel that I really like. But also
and like on the DS, you probably couldn't tell because the resolution's so small, and so it's like I'm looking at that the one about Pancraz or whatever, and like goes down maybe 3 pixels on my screen. So like it's a lot of extra work to make it look organic for the off chance that you'll see it on the DS, and it's beautiful.
I'm looking at a screenshot right now that's when Harry wakes you up in the middle of the night in the hotel, and that's a stone building, not a wooden building, a stone hotel, presumably a decently created building. And literally, like, the right side of my screen is the wall of stone with, the blackness outside because it's the edge of the screen. And it's like fucking wobbly, like Dr. Seuss shit. Anyway, though,
so cool.
But other great areas, the lighthouse in whatever it is, the port town, is this beautiful spirally staircase, and you see inside the cross section. So that's a really nice area. And then in the town of Hay, all the buildings are like yurts,
wigwams,
kind of.
Yeah, like wigwams or something.
Yeah, and you can see the wooden, like a skeleton that goes in front of you. Like the wall is invisible because, of course, you have the camera look through the invisible walls that way you can see your characters. But you still see the wooden scaffolding, and the scaffolding is different for each building because each building is differently shaped, and it's just cool as hell. And I don't stop getting a kick out of that shit.
Yeah, it's so good.
So I when I was still a slave, I talked to the soldier the first time who was telling me about Maria. And this has happened a couple of times with a couple of NPCs. He ends it with, "Oh, I shouldn't have said that to a slave."
Yep.
Like
the exposition.
Yeah, there's a few NPCs who are like, "I shouldn't have told you that," and I'm like, maybe just don't say anything to me when I try to talk to you.
They can tell you're the hero, and they just feel like some mysterious compulsion to give you information.
Right.
Yeah. I also liked how apparently confetti is involved in baptisms in this world.
Right.
I've been playing Phoenix Wright Dual Destinies on my 3DS recently, and they threw confetti at the end of the first trial when you get a not guilty verdict, and it just made me think of that.
That's great.
Like, we should have confetti involved in more things, really.
Yeah.
Like, I want that at my funeral. I want confetti thrown at my funeral.
Surprise, bitch.
Yeah.
One thing we didn't mention that will be a plot point later. It's a memorable moment now, but we will kick ourselves if we don't mention it. When you get the letter from Pancras, it's like, oh, hey, I've been hanging out here, and you get this Zenithia's sword. It says only the hero of legend can wield the sword. So you go to equip it, and it's like you try, but you can't lift it up. So you put it back in your bag. So you're not playing as the legendary hero, which is a first in Dragon Quest. I mean, technically,
I kind of
in 4,
assumed I would be.
Yeah.
And in fact, they do make it clear later on that like your quest is specifically not just to find your grandma, but to find the legendary hero. You're looking for him. That's your main goal for the game.
Yeah, which is cool. I have one more small one, but Bernard, do you have any? You haven't gone yet.
Yes, I have a few.
Okay.
A bunch of lines I liked, like there's a knickknack you can get at the Abbey where none of the above gives you a I think it's called a crude image. It's just an image of the goddess, and she's like, it doesn't have any special powers or anything like that, but I hope it will make it at least make a nice keepsake of your time here. And then as you're leaving the Abbey, you're like speaking with Harry, who I love Harry now. He's such a sweetie.
He fucking
he is.
He's like, anyway, if I remember rightly, you're supposed to be my lackey, aren't you? So you better start listening to your master, understood? And that's a but thou must. I really enjoyed that. And after you save Coburg, you can speak to that same guy on the bridge who was there when you were a kid. And he's like, oh man, things are better now. It's probably because of all the thought I put into solving its problems, standing here watching the river go by. And I love that line because, one, it's funny, too. It's exactly the kind of joke my grandmother would make. And it just reminded me of her.
That's so good.
Also, last one, when you're in the inn in Lodestar, which it's like an inn and a bar, it's a lot of stuff all in one building. You speak to the bartender, and he says, you're searching for the legendary hero so that you can rescue your mother? That all sounds a bit serious.
I fucking love that line. Definitely
It's
one
so
of my
good.
favorite lines.
Just a bit serious. Oh, sorry,
I'll
go
move
ahead.
on real quick. There's an enemy that I like a lot. It's actually one of the most pain in the ass enemies, but one thing that's cool in this game is that the battles are in 3D environments, and they actually like matter. You'll have enemies like on the ceiling, which is cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, one of the enemies on the ceiling is a giant red eye, and it has a really nasty move where it dazzles your team. But anyway, he's called an iPod.
I hate it.
Yeah.
Which
I hate it so much.
I especially love that because iPods didn't exist when this game first came out. It was not until the remake was made that they could localize it in such a manner, which I think is extra funny.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And also fucking stupid.
Oh, so good.
So, this isn't quite a memorable moment, but it's something that I thought was interesting and wanted to bring up. This is a goddess worshipping world. It's that they all talk about the goddess. They all speak about the goddess. All the priests that you save at are men, except in the Heavens Above Abbey, of course. But every other priest that you go to save with is a man, and might be flanked by a woman. But it's like, so you're goddess worshipping, but you're still a patriarchy as far as your religion goes.
So actually, that leads into my last one, because you are technically incorrect. Most of them are men, correct, and the nun. See, the men are just the receptionists at the front. The nuns do all the heavy work in the back. That's why. But
okay.
So I think it's in Zooming Gale. It might be in the last town. It might be in I don't fucking know. But if you go at night to the bar, the priest is there, and he's crying his eyes out, and he's like, the goddess deserted us long ago, religion is fake, everything is horrible, and he's like crying his eyes out, and you go to the chapel, and the nun is there, and she's like, hey, I'll be taking care of you today, what do you need?
Wow, I didn't even know that.
It's so good. I love it so much.
I think that's in Zooming Gale.
Yeah, it might be.
I must have missed that. I don't always save. Okay, one
I don't always bother to go in at different times of day.
It's whichever one is the inn and the it must be Zoom Gale because the inn, the shop, and the chapel are all one.
The inn with the nightclub vibe.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't not share this one. I forgot about this one. Did y'all go down the well in Zoom Gale and talk to the cat?
Yes.
One of my all-time, maybe one of my favorite dialogue boxes in game history. There's a little cat, and normally if you click on the cat, it's really just like the cat purrs, right? You talk to the cat, and the cat says meow, and you can click yes or no. And first, I clicked yes first, which I think is. But if you click no, he goes meow. But anyway, but he says meow, and you click yes, and he goes, Professor Toil and Trouble is the real cause for worry. His garden would be just perfect for a cat nap if only it wasn't so smoky. I feel a little bit better now that I've let the cat out of the bag and confided in you, though. Let me tell you something pertinent by way of thanks. All over the world, there are special regional items particular to each location. If you travel around a lot, you should try to collect them. Then you'll be like the cat that got the cream. Just like, what the fuck? This cat just wanted someone to talk to, and you say yes, and he's like, okay, A, I can talk, and B, here's all of my feelings.
And also how knickknacks work.
And also how knickknacks work. Like, I was hooting and hollering when I got to that part.
Yeah, it was pretty great. I love that cat.
Oh, one more, sorry, right here. If you read a book in, where is it? At some point, in the Abbey, actually. If you read a book, you actually have a book that's like the book of the precepts of Zugzwang, which is interesting because Zugzwang is bad, but maybe it's just for research. But I love the way that it reads. It says, First Commandment. It's like Maddie reads some of the book of Zugzwang. First Commandment. Those who disobey the doctrine of the Order will not be granted access to the White King's paradise. Second Commandment. Those who have faith in King Coral will in turn have the love of the goddess. The rest of it seems to go on in much the same way. It's like, Maddie knows how cults work. You read two of them and you're like, yeah, you know, this kind of shit.
I was a slave for them for 10 years, so I get it.
Yeah. Oh, man. I love it.
That's good. That's good shit. Anybody have any others? I think I'm basically tapped out.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'll peace out on the 3 more that I have.
But yeah, that's all I got. Do you have any more, Bernard?
No.
Alright, so yeah, that'll do it. Where are we stopping next week? We get married? Is that what we said?
Oh, don't spoil it. No, we're going. I thought we were going to the act break.
Let me look.
I mean, everybody in this chapter has been saying, you should get married.
Yeah. It seemed a little bit obvious.
We're going to go all the way to the act break.
Also, it's titled Hand of the Heavenly Bride.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, yeah, no, I don't need to look it up. Actually, I was just looking it up before we started doing this, and
so where what we had said earlier was marital organ, marriage, then time jump. Would time jump be the act break? Because our first thing said we had 2 for the next chunk.
Oh, my bad. No, we're doing. Yeah, that wouldn't be enough. Honestly, if we go all the way to the act break, that might be less than we just did today. So,
okay.
Yeah, let's go all the way to the act break. It's going to be. I think you get a what do you call it? I think you get a
Luna.
I think you get a Luna again. Yeah. Again, just like this last act break, it'll be obvious. It's very obvious. Let's see. Yeah, actually, little pro tip. Like I said, I was looking it up earlier. You don't wait on this because you're gonna think you're pretty far through it, but the thing is, this next week's gonna be really front loaded with plot stuff. But then after all that plot stuff, that doesn't actually take very long. There's a much larger chunk of okay, this is just a lot of gameplay in between plot stuff. So there's a big chunk of gameplay towards the end. So don't let it trick you.
Okay.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Cool. All right. So yeah. That'll do it for the week. If you like what you hear, please consider donating on our Ko-Fi at ko-fi.com/rpgbookclub or buy a shirt from shop.spreadshirt.com/rpgbookclub. I still don't think anybody has bought a shirt yet. I've wanted to, but I haven't. So you could be firsties.
I have a friend who was specifically mentioning it because I had told them about the podcast.
Oh, nice.
These are like from my friends from World of Warcraft who all mass joined our Discord.
Nice.
But he was like, "You have the coolest logo," and I'm like, "Oh, we actually have merch." And he was like, "Send me the link."
Oh, nice. So they'll be firsties, probably.
I want to share one more quick tip. I'm sorry. Just because I remember from last time I played this game. So yeah, you're gonna get married in the next chapter. You have a choice of brides, and the thing is, the game gives you a very explicit choice. And the reason I'm saying that is because the whole time you're going through the quest, you're gonna be like, "Oh, is this one of those things where like it railroads me to get one bride, but if I do something different and like push around the edges, you know what I mean? Like I can go a different direction, kind of like the Aerith date in FF7, right?" There's a lot of reasons why you would naturally think that, but I promise you don't need to bother with that. So like go through the quest like normal, and eventually the game will very, very clearly let you pick.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, we should talk about which brides we're doing in the chat because I think we should all do a different one.
Okay.
Well, we can't all do a different one. There's 3.
Yeah. There's only
2
3.
of us will do the same one.
Well, yeah. I just mean we need to make sure all our bases are covered.
Yeah,
for sure. But yeah. If you want to drop us a line, you can do so on Twitter at RPG Book Club or in our Discord, which has a link in the description. The description will also have a link to the Ko-Fi if you don't know how to spell it. And if you want to review us on iTunes, that helps us a lot. Our iTunes numbers are lower than our Spotify numbers. This is the only reason I'm putting that in here. But if you want to listen to us on Spotify, just save us to your library or use Overcast because it's the best way to listen to podcasts.
I love Overcast.
It's so good. But just tell some of your friends to check us out because we like your friends. As always, I am Sam Allman.
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
I'm Maddie Webbin.
I'm David Bernard Hauk.
And you guys have a great week.
Love you. Toodaloo.
Bye.
Bye.